Bet you didn't think I'd be releasing a new video like this so soon, eh? Well, I'm back at the Ramble machine. So I've managed to break my streak from last year with 2 videos! Anyway, let's talk about video games, because I had a lot of fun talking about video games a while ago, and I'm going to be doing a lot of gaming as I'm heading on vacation soon. So yeah, let's talk about gaming. Gamers. And I realized I didn't talk much about Zenless itself besides the standard ARPG stuff, so I'll mix in some of the events I did, like the movie theater event, and I'll even throw in some memes like this.
I have 6 and
explosion sound.
Okay. I feel like I just had a near-death experience. So I want to start off with a game that literally no one has ever heard of before, or most of you probably have seen it while browsing around the PlayStation Store. I bought it a while ago and just finished it recently. Delirium by Blackgate Studio.
Damn. You can't see it on the screen right now, but my screen is just pink.
This game was released in 2023 and was actually a part of the PlayStation Talents program. It's also my first time hearing that Sony had a Talents program. I saw screenshots on the PlayStation 5 of the game and thought, this looks kinda cool, gives off a cartoony aesthetic, and I might check it out. I really like a lot of dumb things. For example, Mitsudomoe, Bad Girl, and Africa Salaryman, all of which are pretty goofy, and taking these shows seriously is practically impossible. The plot consists of you going around your home as Lola, who gives off a punky tomboy vibe, and I like that. I love to see fan art of this character. Along with her brother Danny to find your cat named Lasagna, who leaves the room in the opening sequence.
Guys, this is just cringe.
Turns out he's actually in the attic. The game has tons of memes and references to things like Breaking Bad, Rick and Morty, Jumanji, and Harry Potter. And the tutorial sequence is handled by an AI character named Morgana. There we go. Morgana.
I say what I say.
Cause I told you don't even fuck with the goddamn TV.
I actually think that this game is kind of fun. As previously said, I like Lola's character. The conversations between her and her brother are hilarious.
Pyrocynical in a nutshell.
start bullying kids.
Man!
And even though I've never seen any of the references, I think the references actually do serve a purpose. It's not like Family Guy cutaway gags where they're only there to be referenced and not much else. For example, you have to help the Rick parody character named...
Stop saying the name. Stop saying that name. Please stop saying that name.
Yeah, that's his name. I'm not saying it. You can see it on screen, and I'm just anyway. You help him fix his battery, and he helps you by fixing your grappling hook, which you need to open the attic door. Same goes for Hinniken, the name of Walter in this game, by doing magic to help make his medicine that will allow you to help the bunny plushie in the bathroom. The game itself is a mixed bag. I like the art style, gives off a cartoony/anime aesthetic. I like the interactions with the characters, and hearing Lola say something different with items like the scissors is nice.
And this... What the fuck?
I don't want to be too hard on the game because it's an indie game. It obviously is a whole lot different from me talking about Bleach Rebirth of Souls or reviewing anime. That being said, there are a few typos for the English version of the game.
Well, with one eye has enough. Be careful, master.
The game is only about an hour or 2 hours long. The game doesn't support keyboard or mouse on PC.
And I don't know why. This is the same problem I had with Ollie Ollie World.
In the ending, I found a bit disappointing. Basically, the ending consists of you rolling the dice and playing a Jumanji game, which causes the house to shake and rattle, and you're told by Robin Williams to leave. The front door is blocked, so you have to go through the garage, and the Wick wannabe flies out. And you meet Lola's parents, who make a Pokemon reference. They head onto the moon, and just when things start seeming like they're going to be heating up, the game just ends, cut to credits. Turns out it was actually the first chapter of Delirium, and we might be coming back another day. Well, it's been 3 years since this game released, and this has been the only chapter that's been released. This game actually does acknowledge this. Cotton actually brings it up in a sequence with you communicating with a Rick wannabe. And apart from speedrunning the game, there really isn't much of a reason for me to come back to it because the game has no I like the presentation of Delirium, and I like the concept of it. A game that is a goofy little point-and-click style game that honors many series, with a bit of a silly plot. And even though the game was $13, I feel like there could have been a whole lot more. If I'm honest, I feel like the game was maybe about 70 to 80% of the way there. In a few years' time, I think the references might be a little outdated, but I really don't know if that's a subjective thing or not. Oh, and while recording footage from my Steam Deck, I should probably bring up a point and a fact that everyone needs to know.
But if I don't get a new Senran Kagura game in like the next 5 years, I'm probably gonna break something. If you like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a nice comment.
Before I move on to the next part of the video, I should talk about something I discovered on the Delirium PlayStation Store page because it allows me to talk about something I've been finding weird.
I need footage. Like, the PS4 version is not even listed here. This has a PS5 and PS4 version, but I just can't see it on my end. It kinda looks like a Pokemon Go.
Just kind of like, why?
Because a year after Delirium released, it came out in 2023, it got a PS5 version.
Do you guys ever feel like you see like a PS5 version of a game and it releases alongside like a PS4 version of a game and you're just kind of like, why?
Does anyone find it weird whenever you get a game on the PlayStation 4 and see a PlayStation 5 version alongside it and you just ask yourself like, why? A year after Delirium released in 2024, Blackgate Studio and its publisher released a PlayStation 5 version, and I find it weird because it's a point-and-click text adventure game. It's similar to when visual novels like Sunny Cafe, White Wings, and Dora Kone get PS4 and PS5 versions. What's the difference? It's a visual novel game. It's not that graphically intensive. Loading times weren't really an issue before, and adaptive triggers and haptic feedback weren't really a big deal for visual novels. Like, couldn't you play the PS4 version of that game on your PS5, like with Sakuna of Rise and Ruin, a game that came out 2 days before the PS5 release? Does it just feel nice to play a visual novel with a native PS5 version for a game that can run on my Surface Pro 3? It just feels weird to spend development time and money on a next-gen SKU when the PlayStation 4 version of the visual novel runs fine.
My problems with this system isn't based off of the visual novels itself. I don't have a problem with any of the visual novels. I haven't even played most of them. My point is just basically me talking about how you don't really need a PS5 version of a visual novel.
Companies like Entergram and iMail are the opposites, where they release their games on PS4 and Switch 1, and I think that makes more sense because you don't really need a next-gen version of Koi Kari Love for Hire or Aquarium. It runs fine.
I think this game was made by, someone's gonna correct me if I'm wrong. I think this game was made by August. Yes, I was right! Yes, I was right! Oh yeah, speaking about Kagami games, didn't they announce that they were gonna be localizing this game? I've been interested in this game mostly because of this character that you see on the right.
And I think that just makes more sense than making a PS4 and PS5 version of a visual novel. Well, I'm talking about visual novels. So recently a visual novel came out that I was really interested in. A lot of visual novels come out on the same day, and this past Friday was no different. In addition to Stray Sheep releasing, the English localization of Template by Kagami Games, and Azarasi Soft releasing Toshiyu Kanojo 2, I was super into Magalumina. I was basically waiting for this game to release, and now that it's out, I can finally talk about it. I'm probably gonna be mostly using footage from Tina's route. Wait, can I even show footage?
No, I didn't stutter.
Huh. Okay, so
you know what? Instead of showing footage from the main story, I'll just place it with images from other things. I don't know if using this sprite is going to get this video taken down, and I guess it's better to be safe than not.
And if this video does get taken down or blocked worldwide, well, I don't know. I guess I'll bring back 2020 Pilot Payback. Remember that guy? He was pretty terrible. Oh god, this is so terrible. You misspelled epilepsy. There are like 45 breaths you take. Kill me, please. Okay, let me try something different. Instead of talking about the story, I'll talk about why I like Tina, one of the main characters in Magalumina. Maybe that's a safer bet than talking entirely about the story, because I want to talk about Magalumina, even if it's just a brief section in this video. I think my favorite character in this game is Tina. I love her hairstyle. She's super expressive and adorable. Looking at her banner, she's obviously a gamer. And I love her route a ton when I played through it. One weird thing about the routes, according to some research I did and my own experience, the routes aren't really routes in the traditional sense. You don't really make decisions throughout the game that lead you to one of the routes, with the exception of the bomb scene that shows up. Instead, each character has their own full story. You go through Kagumiya, then Tina, then Melvi, in that order. I will admit, I did find it weird, you know? It's nowhere near as weird as the chart in Love to Quad, where you're basically taking a survey to see which route you'll end up getting. Yes, that's how the game actually operates, but I think it's a little weird. But it's not too bad either. It's unique. I love the music in this game. It sounds really good. I love the art in the game, like the sprites, especially Tina and Melvi. I like the sprite designs for both of these characters. While I'm on the topic of the sprites, you probably already know what I'm going to be talking about next. This game has a sprite viewer. Heck yeah! See, now this is where I really come out, because I'm a connoisseur of sprites. Self-entitled sprite fanatic Jordan here. Just let me put on my glasses. because I think Angelic Chaos has a bit of a better sprite viewer. You know, I've seen all kinds of sprite viewers, and if I had to rate this one, I'd say it's 3.9 out of 5. I like the fact that the characters are easily selectable, and I can add my own text, add multiple characters, and have access to almost all the content the game has. But unlike other games like Wagamama High Spec or Riddle Joker, I can't use my own backgrounds, and the expressions have to be cycled through by pressing the button multiple times, unlike Angelic Chaos where I can easily select them. I don't think we'll ever be getting a tool that is as powerful as the tenuous scene creator tool, aren't we? This feature was amazing. You could basically create your own scenes. I use this to make Ramble machine ideas before I made videos. I also think the Angelic Chaos sprite viewer is one of the best sprite viewers I've ever used. It's so feature rich, I could add dozens of abominates, I could change the background to a custom background, and it's so easy to find expressions. I actually used it for the Ebiton video in a few instances, and if any of you watched that video. Why is that video like the second most popular video on my channel, right behind the first? The Magalumina sprite viewer kind of reminds me of the Baboomy sprite viewer, the Riddle Joke sprite viewer, or most of Acid Project sprite viewers. Acid Project sprite viewers are fine, I just wish they had more weight to them. It's just a mode where you can view expressions, just wish there was a lot more. I'm overall happy that Magalumina has a sprite viewer. Now, if only Milk Factory could do that, I'd be happy. While I'm on the topic of visual novels, I've been spending time playing other visual novels, so I'll give my thoughts and feelings on them in this section. I want to start out by talking about Futamata Renai, an Acid Project game. The story centers around two characters, Karame and Yua, being in separate relationships with the main protagonist, Nao, and hilarity ensues. Nekonyan worked with Kagura Games to localize the title. Either way, I'm a huge Acid Project fan and was pretty quick to play it. Even before this game was localized, I was heavily attached to Karame. She's my favorite character in the game right next to her friend Layla. I was pretty mixed on the main protag's decision because, you know, I prefer Karame, and if I'm honest, Yua comes off as cold and annoying to me, but maybe that's just me. That said, some of the stuff she said was pretty funny. I actually played this game on launch day and loved it, and I'm also really excited about the upcoming game Osama Renai. It comes out later this year, has dozens of characters, has an interesting synopsis, and I think it's gonna be good. I might go back to Futamata because I know that Layla has a mini route in the story. I even saved where I can trigger it so I can come back and view it. Might be a bit cowardly to admit, but I feel like anyone can have fun in a visual novel in any way, so that's my defense for doing that. Oh, and I really want to see how Kagura Games is going to localize the Rants games and get them to work on Steam. It's probably going to be something like this. But then again, they managed to get this on the platform, so, I also play through eSchool Life, localized as Home Sweet Homecoming. If you know about my college life, I actually made an entire review talking about this game for my magazine assignment for our class. I'm being serious. And no, I didn't use AI to write any of this. I sat down at the student union during downtime moments and just typed all of this out. Now, I could read this entire thing to you, something that's actually really tempting to do, but for the interest of time, here's the Clip Notes version of my review. This story is basically Ryotada returning to Japan after going internationally due to his parents' work, and he was in his last year of high school and wanting a girlfriend. There's actually tons of choices for characters to choose from in this game. The three characters I like are Suzuyama, Rikako, and Yuka. All three of them are fun. I know Shirobune gets a lot of flack because of the way they translate things sometimes. It kind of reminds me of Ocean Vale style translations at their worst, but I'm really happy that they picked up this title because I think this is one of my favorite titles from Hooksaw. I like Suzuyama's ending. I want to get through Rikako and Yuka next. I wish there was a sprite viewer. And I think Suzuyama might be my favorite character out of all three of them. I remember playing this game as like a demo on my PlayStation 4 when I used to have it. And I think that's why I have a soft spot specifically for this game and a few other games like Hanasaki Workspring. Someone localize that please, I beg. A few of the Giga titles like Rep Kiss and Glass Teammates of Kagami no Jusha, and especially Kagurashi Renai, because it was the game that introduced me to Acid Project years ago. I even have screenshots from when I played the game, with the Acid Project and Instagram copyright sticker slapped onto it because I didn't have a capture card at the time. Speaking of which, I'll eventually play Kagami Games' localized Kagurashi Love. I have that on my computer, but I haven't played it yet. I will, I promise, because I need to see Ayaka's route in English. It's almost a mandatory requirement at this point because she's the character I fell in love with the most when I played the game last. In fact, most of the screenshots I took were from Ayaka's portion of the game, minus that one glitched up image I also took. Lastly, I know what you're wondering. Jordan, did you play the Konosuba visual novel? Of course I did! Developed by Mages, who has a penchant for doing this. I mean, they've made a laid-back camp title, a game based on Isidora Rabbit, a game based on New Game, as well as a game based on Punchline that kinda sucked. There is at least 6 or 7 quintuplets games, 2 Konosuba games, and even a game based off of that one romance anime that won't die. They even recently picked up the Angel Next Door spoils me rotten and announced a game based off of it that's getting a Switch 2 version. That's some fast adoption right there. We don't often get these games localized, but I did buy the first Quintuplets one, localized by Spike Chunsoft, who actually got it into a double pack if you wanted both. I just bought one, and I also bought the Konosuba game Close of Desire, localized by PQ, new for $20. The new Konosuba game, in my opinion, is fine. It's actually pretty fun. Basically, Konosuba and... Did I say Konosuba in the script? Fucking hell. Basically, Kazuma and his crew, voiced by their original Japanese voice actors and actresses from the anime, which is a solid dub right there, are accused of stealing and thus need to make clothes for a rich person so they could drop the charges on them. They're given the most vague explanations as to what they need to do, and each day is spent working, exploring, and interacting with characters by making decisions. You have a timeline as to when you need to show progress, and if you don't, you'll lose the game. You'll spend money on resources to make outfits for characters in the game, and I really like when visual novels do this stuff. Games mixing strategy and story. It's kind of the reason why I like Evil Woman Executive, and it's one of my favorite visual novels of all time, because you have to communicate on a map to see which decisions work best and which way you'll be able to beat the heroes. I tried the Quintuplets game, but I might come back to it later because it was a bit difficult to get a hold of that game.
I wasn't recording all this stuff! Come on! I didn't record any footage of the Quintuplets game or the Konosuba game, so I, at the very last minute, had to, like, compile my setup together.
For the Quintuplets game, you're stranded on an island and you need to help the girls with their studying. Basically, you need to make sure all 5 girls pass their test, and if even one of them fails, the game is over. You then have to interact with the characters and hang out with them. I feel like the game was a bit hard to get a hold of, but like I said, I have to give Mages credit for going above and beyond by having a better art style than the now dead Quintuplets mobile game Gotopazu, and by having all the voice actors and actresses play the roles of all the characters, so there isn't any dissonance between source materials. That said, it's sub only, not dub, but that makes sense since the game was originally a Japanese game being localized for a Western audience. Also, on an unrelated note, this game kinda sucks. Yep, Jordan's talking about Zenless again. So in my last Ramble machine, I was just covering some surface level stuff. I had actually been playing some of the events the game had as well as Hollow Zero lately, and have been wanting to give my feelings on those. Starting off with my favorite event, the movie theater experience.
Nice.
So in Zenless, there is a movie theater called Gravity, and you can either watch movies with someone or you could go at it alone. And in my last video, I was critical of the game offering superfluous decisions that didn't really make much of an impact. Well, this is the probably closest thing that I've been wanting, because the movie theater experience is genuinely good. I love watching movies with characters like Vivian or Achita, and the legendary, great, fantastical, one-of-a-kind Caesar King.
It kinda hurts to know that I can interact with this character at this theater, but I will never be able to get the character herself.
Don't worry. Lies! I won't hide anything from my bestie.
During the movie, you have to make decisions that will determine how good you are at conversing between the film. And these decisions start even before you sit down and watch the film, because you have to choose the right film, the film they want to see. And this is something I really like and would love to see in the main game. You also kind of get that because you have trust events where you can get closer to characters like Ambi or Pulchra or Piper, who I'm pretty attached to because they've been showing up frequently around town. But this is an instance, in my opinion, where I think it could work well. I think the theater might be one of my favorite things to do, although after you play it once through one session, I guess the magic is lost easily because there's no cycle of decisions, it's the same decision. It's also why I'm not a big fan of watching stuff in the theater alone, because it kind of devolves into just pressing buttons at the right time, ignoring button prompts that are wrong, and while I do feel closer to the film by doing these, I don't really have much of a desire to continue unless if I want to 100% the theater.
Why is asymmetrical bunny here?
It'd be really cool to go on dates with agents who aren't even selected on the list and hang out by watching films like me going to the theater with Pulchra or something. In fact, I might try that when I get back from my vacation, because if you can choose the hangout spot, then what's stopping me from choosing the movie theater, going there, and watching a film with an agent I want? In fact, there are several other agents that show up in the background, so it would be possible, right? Right? Anyway, I like the movie theater, and I really want to see more decisions that would impact the story, kind of like what they did here. I also played this.
Why do I have a bad feeling? Why do I have a bad feeling about where this is gonna go? Oh god. Oh god. What did I just... Wow. That's, I'm glad I'm showing this on camera, but This is epic. This is epic.
So the game turned into a shoot 'em up where you control Valina or whatever character you pick and shoot anything that moves, dodge anything that's fired at you, and you can use your ultimate ability to bring in stuff like a tornado.
Should be corrected.
I mean, this is kind of fun.
This is weird. Trevor McFur and the Crescent Galaxy, this is not. It's actually kind of fun though. Just a little.
This is insane. I can't work like this.
By the way, MiHoYo, if you want a new idea for a Zenless event, I need you to listen to this because I have a multi-million-dollar idea.
I'd love to see like Zenless try to experiment with I'd like to see Zenless experiment with like a Metroidvania style thing, like Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. That would be very cool to see because I love games like that.
Yeah, MiHoYo, I need Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown Zenless edition. I need it. Like, imagine that. Imagine playing as Caesar King in a 2.5D style Zenless Metroidvania. Like, I need it. Okay. I also decided to go back into Hollow Zero, mainly because I wanted to capture footage of me doing side missions, showing off different stuff I like, and I had fun in the game, but also...
Oh, hell yeah! I get to play as Caesar King!
See, I told you Caesar King and I were meant to be together. I knew it! I knew it! It's kind of like a gauntlet where you take different routes and go down. I even got a few memes out of it.
I am begging on my knees. Can someone please explain to me how I can get Caesar King? This is gonna suck. Oh god! At this point, I might as well just like work with Matt McMuscles on a what happened video because now I'm starting to quote the stuff that he's saying.
What happened? What happened? What happened?
What happened?
Yay! Oh my god, yes! I can finally add in the bit for a second time. This is the second time in this video where I can play it, and it...
Also, yeah, I play Caesar King well, why do you ask? But yeah, I just wanted to show off my opinion on some of the side modes in the game, since I was just talking about the game at a surface level, and I thought it was a bit unfair. Plus, that gave me a reason to make a sequel to a video that was made by a pretty average YouTuber. I kinda like having fun rambling and talk about topics like this. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing this again this soon, but hey, maybe it's foreshadowing for the Medaka video. Maybe it'll drop next week. Yeah, that ain't happening. I can't talk about Moto Kawaii that quickly. That's about as lucky as me getting Caesar King.